Hockey is for everyone. Hockey Heroes is hosting its inaugural event to help kids with special abilities pick up the game of hockey.
Tonight, if you're a parent of a child of a certain age, the new dictionary.com word of the year will probably sound familiar to you. It is the slang phrase 6'7". And whether you love it or hate it, the very popular phrase 6'7" seems to be everywhere.
Monday marked a new chapter in the state of Indiana's history as former Senator and Jasper native Mike Braun was officially sworn in as the state's new governor. Winter has arrived, and that means once those temperatures start to drop, snow and ice are going to start covering those roadways. Now, if you don't have the proper tires or are not prepared for those conditions, it could lead to crashes or you spinning off the road.
You can continue to donate, as you mentioned, bringing in non-perishable food items, hygiene products, and more. But also on every table in the restaurant is this card right here with a QR code. You scan the QR code when you come in, and you can make a monetary donation to the food pantry directly.
Trails Patriots finished their season 14-1, avenging that state loss from last year. An absolutely dominant team all season long, and they cap it off with that state championship title. And it was very fun to watch them and cover them all season long. You could tell this team was destined for that state championship. After the holidays and all those family gatherings, RSV cases have soared at a rapid pace. Owensboro Health is one of the hospitals in the tri-state experiencing the rise, and they say it's concerning. The Evansville Police Department has been piecing together information involving this deadly shooting just over the last 24 hours, and now they have their suspect, Christopher Boyd Jr.
Yeah, that's right, Brian. I am out here on the sandbar, and everybody out here is having a great time. Obviously being aware of the scorching heat that's going on, because doctors, they're concerned that people will suffer from heat exhaustion or a heat stroke due to the weather out here. That's right, Claire. The Kentucky Department of Transportation met up with different lawmakers today to provide that update on the I-69 bridge project. Now, some of those names in town included Congressman Andy Barr and Mark Messmer, Senator Todd Young, and Indiana Governor Mike Braun. Well, the Evansville Thunderbolts are officially the SPHL's President Cup champions as they just raised the cup right there. Captain Matthew Hobbs raising it for the first time in team history. And as you can see, this is a live look at the on-ice celebration happening right now inside of the Ford Center. The game, once again, went into overtime, but the Thunderbolts did come out on top 2-1 after an Aiden Litkey goal assisted by the captain himself, Matthew Hobbs, sealed the victory for our Thunderbolts. A nuisance 6, an Evansville woman will serve time in federal prison for embezzling more than $500,000 from her employer over the span of 15 years. Now, federal officials say Rebecca Willis will serve 2 years, followed by 3 years of supervised release after pleading guilty to 8 counts of wire fraud. But before we dig deeper into the presidential race and what candidates are doing in the battleground states, we are first going to take a look at a much-anticipated race in Owensboro. Tonight, candidates running for commissioner seats took to the stage to address voter concerns. Late breaking at this hour, 2 separate fires broke out in Evansville today, both happening just minutes apart from each other. The first call came in at 11:55 for a mobile home fire on Underhill Court, and then just 3 minutes later, another fire was reported on Keller Street. Well, Claire, it was certainly a historic day here in sports for Evansville as the final competitive races were held at Angel Mounds, marking the end of an era for this iconic cross-country course. We begin with breaking news out of Louisville, where emergency crews are responding to a plane crash. This is a live picture from the scene that you're seeing right now. According to UPS flight 2976, with 3 crew members on board, was heading from Louisville to Honolulu just after 5 o'clock. But right now, firefighters and first responders are on the scene working to contain any flames and secure that area, as there is a shelter-in-place order for a 5-mile radius. Now, earlier today, more warming shelters across Evansville opened up, but are there any services for those who maybe can't get to any of those warming centers? But obviously, you can see it. He is covered in cotton candy, and they are pumping out bags left and right. You're obviously making some of that as well. Tell me a little bit about that process, because obviously it's a messy process.
Yeah, so off-site, we have these buckets that we fill with sugar and flosine, and we just sit there and mix it. We bring it here, we pour cupfuls into our cotton candy makers, and it'll spin as it heats and create the floss that you see. We put it into bags, we hang it up, we sell it.
Perfect. It's a simple process. They do it well as well. I've seen a lot of kids with tons of cotton candy. Well, Tyler, thank you so much for joining me. Hopefully you guys are raising a bunch of money this week. I'll let you get back to work, doing your thing. So come on down, booth 111, Boy Scout Troop 50. Help them out. Get some delicious cotton candy made right there. You'll see them all. They're covered in it. Well, many agencies are working hard during this winter storm, responding to emergencies and just doing what they can to help keep you and your family safe. And joining us now is Vanderbilt County Sheriff Noah Robinson. Sheriff, how's the last 20 to 24 hours been for the deputies and yourself? Now, you have proposed a bill to up security for politicians. According to police, Charlie was escorted to the event with his own security detail. And while he is not an elected official, would you expand your proposed bill in January to include political activists like Charlie? Well, Claire, along Franklin Street, you can actually find me somewhat near our usual tent on 11th. I'm just across from Edge Auto Sports down here outside of booth 39. Kiwanis, Evansville, and joining me now is Melinda from Kiwanis, Evansville. First of all, how are you doing? How's the week going so far?
Fantastic. I think we had the best start of any. We kind of, have been here, done this many times, but I think we had the best start ever, so we're very happy for that.
You can't complain about that, that's for sure. Obviously, a lot of people are out here, but maybe for people who don't necessarily know what your organization is, tell us a little bit about it. Well, Claire, it's packed, like always, down here at the Westside Nut Club Fall Festival. Obviously, getting some food, going on the carnival rides, everybody just enjoying, like Jonathan mentioned, the absolutely beautiful weather out here this week, as you should. I know I'm enjoying it. And joining me now from the Westside Nut Club is Brandon McLeish. Brandon, how you doing today?
I am great. This is my favorite day. The Tuesday of Fall Festival is always a Westside Nut Clubber's favorite day, by far.
And in terms of the shirt you're wearing, the jersey, a very cool jersey I may add, that's one of the events that's going on today. Winter has arrived, and that means once those temperatures start to drop, snow and ice are going to start covering those roadways. Now, if you don't have the proper tires or are not prepared for those conditions, it could lead to crashes or you spinning off the road.
Everything you know, especially, again, changing that driving mode from summertime to wintertime is a complete 180 in a lot of ways.
When sitting behind the wheel on bad road conditions, there are ways that you can stay safe and avoid a hazard.
If you can travel during the daylight hours, that's ideal. So that thermal heat from the sun can help break that ice up. But if you're going into shady areas that very seldom sees the sunlight, be mindful. It may be clear for a good stretch, but all of a sudden now you're going into a curve where it hasn't, and now you're hitting black ice again.
Make sure your tires have the most traction possible and are relatively new. When turning, take turns slowly and don't slam on the brakes. Now, if you begin to spin out, the best thing you can do is to not panic. Just gently turn the wheel the other way to even your car out.
Be slow at the brake, but also slow in accelerating too. If you are in a slide, you want off the brake, off the accelerator, and steer the nose of the vehicle in the direction you want it to go. So in an event, you take an evasive maneuver. You want off the brake and then steer the vehicle out of that slide or that possible wreck that you could be in.
When there is snow on the roads, you should drive in the path of the car ahead of you, plus keep a good distance away in case you have to stop.
You want that contact patch of your tire making contact with something like the road. Now, if you have a barrier, whether it be ice or snow, packed between that, now you're losing that ability, at least with that stopping distance that you need. So by following somebody else's path, now you're at least down to the bottom to where you're able to get your tire have enough bite to grab and give you that traction you need.
Lastly, make sure you know ahead of time the conditions you are driving in.
The pre-trip, what do we do to take those precautions before we go? Know the conditions before you embark on your journey. And the way you can do that is go to goky.ky.gov to find out not only the travel conditions at that time, but also what's the travel conditions going to be like when you return home. Well, if you were to go to work and it's one way, it very well can change within 6 to 8 hours.
Remember, if you don't absolutely have to go out, don't. But if you do, make sure to find someone who has experience or is confident driving in these conditions. Reporting in Owensboro, Ben Thomas, 44 News. Friends, family, and the Henderson community gathered today to say their final goodbyes to the legendary Super Bowl champion, motivational speaker, and beloved community member.
Loved his faith and he loved his family, he loved his football, but he loved this community more than anything.
Samuel Davis Ball passed away Monday, October 30th, surrounded by his family. Known for winning Super Bowl V, blocking for Johnny Unitas and the Baltimore Colts, Ball received a number of football accolades in his lifetime. From an all-state football player for the Henderson County Colonels to an All-American at the University of Kentucky, Ball even had his number 73 retired by the University of Kentucky. He was inducted into the NFL Hall of Fame Kentucky chapter and Kentucky Sports Hall of Fame as well.
My daddy ran off when I was 9 years old. Thank God I had a great mama and my high school coach who believed in me, and that's where it all started from. Being an All-American and a world champion with the NFL Baltimore Colts, okay, the Baltimore Colts, okay, and so ain't God good.
Once retired, Ball came back to his hometown of Henderson, Kentucky, and became a figure throughout the community. He was a member of the Chapel Hill United Methodist Church, worked as an agribusinessman for over 30 years, and was a motivational speaker. Whether it was his stories, making people laugh, or giving back, Ball made a lasting impact on everyone he met.
We hear stories about what he did for people and how he filled them up and how he motivated them and encouraged them. So that's the biggest legacy is not just football, it's just the man that he was.
But his legacy goes far beyond football. He was a loving husband, father, and grandfather. His daughter tells me that all he wanted was to be a dad, and that's how they will remember him.
He was just dad to us, and so there were so many things that were great about him. And yes, we heard the word football every day of our life, but it's not so much about his football accolades, which were amazing to be from this little town, but it's the man who he was. It was his faith, and it was his service and how he wanted to add to people's life.
Ball will be buried tomorrow at Fernwood Cemetery with services beginning at 2 p.m. Another memorial service will be held on Wednesday from noon until the funeral services begin. Reporting in Henderson, Ben Thomas, 44 News.